Welcome back to Giants.com. My name is John Schmuck. With me is Michael Eisen for the Giants Training Camp Report, the online edition. And Mike, practice today was a little bit rough for the offense. Centers had a lot of problem getting the ball out from under center.
It's been a problem throughout camp, not with Shaun O'Hara, but Shaun O'Hara didn't practice today. Adam Coates moved up to the first team at the center spot, and he muffed a snap. Tutan Reyes, who moved over to center today with the second team, had a bad snap, as did Kevin Booth with the third team. And it's been a recurring problem. Tom Coughlin was not as angry about it after practice as you might expect. He says, those players are all kind of new to center, and you've got to get used to the defensive lineman being right in front of you and snapping the ball. But he said we've got to do a better job of that. Yeah,
it was actually pretty fortunate. We had a chance today to talk to offensive line coach Pat Flaherty, and he talked to us about how these younger players and how it takes time for them to adjust to the center position.
No, they're not natural centers, but when you look at the NFL, all right, and you guys know better than anybody, some of the natural centers are drafted in the first and second round. When you look at a lot of guys, and again, I don't know this for a fact, so I'm not, but some centers were other positional players, okay, and snapping the ball. The Pro Bowl center from the New York Giants in 2008 was another positional player before he came to the Giants.
And Mike, the Giants have been very fortunate that they haven't had to worry about depth on the offensive line the last few years. Generally, everyone's been healthy, but in training camp, you mentioned Shaun O'Hara had the triceps today. Richie Seibert's been in and out. We've had to see these backups have to step up and be on that first team. Yeah,
at some point, the Giants are the only team in the NFL to start to same 5 offensive linemen for each 32 regular season games of the last 2 years. You can't expect that. I'm not wishing anybody ill will, but you really can't expect that every year. They've got to develop some young offensive linemen, some backup offensive linemen, and somebody's going to have to step forward in camp.
And of course, the Giants offensive linemen have a great challenge. They go against one of the deepest and best defensive lines in football here at training camp. But there's a lot of injuries on the defensive line. Osi Umenyiora, 1 a day. Justin Tuck, 1 a day. Cofield, 1 a day. Fred Robbins, Rocky Bernard, they're out. Now Chris Canty's a little bit banged up. He knows it's very difficult to practice in training camp with that few players.
It's like a calculus formula sometimes, when you get all the substitution groups, people, I'm sitting there and it's like I have to solve that calculus problem before every practice, and what you want to try to do is you got to monitor the repetitions. You have different personnel groups, you have different people coming in, and so there is some science to it. Okay, you have to kind of be smart to play defensive line. Everybody say, "Oh, the offensive line have to know." Yeah, we got to counter everything that they do. So you have to be smart to coach. You got to play the defensive line, and the big thing is that our guys are smart, and I'm encouraged by the things that they're able to do.
That's Giants defensive line coach Mike Waffle, and it really has been a challenge. That rotation on the defensive line, thought to be a strength, it's been shallow here in camp.
It has. I mean, you look today, none of the projected starters were on the field today. But again, one man's injury is another man's opportunity. You have players like Jay Alford, the third-year tackle, playing very well. Mike Waffle said Jeremy Clark, a guy who contributed late in the year, doesn't get a lot of publicity, has shown himself to do some good things in camp. Matthias Kiwanuka is still out there. So Dave Tollefson, who made some plays last year. But yeah, this was supposed to be the deepest position group on the team. The Giants purposely went out and added players this year because of what happened last year, the players getting worn down, and so far we haven't seen that.
And Mike, finally, overall, Coach Coughlin seemed a little bit more pleased today with how the offense has performed, catching up a little bit to the defense.
Well, you did see a lot of nice plays from the offense today. Ramses Barden made some nice catches. Mario Manningham, the quarterbacks threw the ball well today. Once they did get the snap off, the running game looked to be crisp. I think the offense is starting to catch up to the defense now.
Well, we'll stay tuned. Check out practice next few days, see if that continues. For Michael Eisen, my name is John Schmelk. Check out tomorrow for another edition of the Giants Training Camp Report, the online edition.